Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the end of Unit 1. We are coming out of the thick of it for In the Woods with Mr. Harrison, dealing with economics. So we have gone through a lot of stuff together already, and I mean that in both this virtual economics forest and I mean that in real life. I know school has been really hectic and really crazy. We've had a lot of changes thrown at all of us, with more changes to come. But know that I am here for you, and we will get through this together just like we've gotten through this first unit and this first round of the economics forest, because you know there's more to come. So let's talk about what all we've gone through as a group, because we've gone through a lot, right? So first thing we talked about was scarcity. We talked about that whole concept of you have unlimited wants but limited resources, limited means. Um, think back to my example with the backpack. So I was trying to put together my backpack. I was packing for this journey, and I had 10 million things spread across my floor. And I was like, okay, unless I'm 8 feet tall and have two backpacks, I cannot carry all of this. It is not possible. So think about that concept when it comes to scarcity. Think about what you can and cannot do, how you have this unlimited wants. You want to do all these things, but you just don't have enough time, money, resources, etc. That is the concept of scarcity. One of the next concepts we came across was cost benefit analysis. So the example that's in some of the slideshows is that whole concept of the mall, where you're going through and you're saying, okay, well, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I have 20 bucks. Well, if I start with food, then I'm already out 10 bucks or 8 bucks or whatever. So you make that decision. Is it worth it, or do I need something else? I have a different example that's a little simpler, something that almost all of us do every single day, including myself, and that is the age-old snooze button on your alarm clock or phone alarm. And that is when you say, okay, I'm just going to get 5 more minutes of sleep. And so you hit snooze. What you just did in your sleepy haze was cost benefit analysis. The benefit is more sleep. The cost is time. So you said, benefit's worth it. Oh, I want that extra 5 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever your alarm is set. Or you're one of those people who has like a 9 minute snooze. That is your decision. You are making a cost benefit analysis based choice. And you do it in your sleep. That is how common it is for you guys to do cost benefit analysis, which is great. I mean, that's all you need. So if you can think and just remember my alarm clock, what do I do every morning? Oh, God. Today, cost benefit analysis. You know how to do it. You know you do it all the time. That is the quickest way. That's cost benefit analysis. Another way to think about it is marginal analysis. Marginal, remember, literally just think on the margins. So the outside of whatever it may be, just the tiny little incremental choices. So that cost benefit analysis, and again, marginal analysis is the same thing. You're just figuring out, is this additional, marginal equals additional, is this additional choice worth it? So that same thing, is that additional sleep worth it? That is cost benefit analysis and marginal analysis at the same time. You're like, is this one little thing totally worth it? My answer is generally yes. I can generally hit snooze at least once or twice before I get up. So that is cost benefit analysis, marginal analysis in a nutshell. Didn't take that long, right? The next group of concepts we came to was our economic systems. Think back to my communist village. I wandered into the communist village, and what happened? Couldn't buy anything. They wouldn't sell me anything. One individual, one government is in charge of allocating all of our resources. That whole 3 economic questions. What do we make? How do we make it? Who gets it? In this case, the government answers all of those questions. In the communist village, nobody would sell me my freeze-dried goods, so I had to move on. And then I came to the free market village, which was definitely the one I was like, okay, free market village, this is going to be great. I had the guest villagers telling me where to go. I was like, oh, we totally got a guy. We got a guy. And so, awesome. Well, and I found the guy. Mr. Donville's Freezer Emporium, however, was a monopoly. And by that I mean he was the only game in town. And because he was the only game in town, it really comes down to 2 choices when it comes to pricing. If he marks his prices up crazy high, like, oh, I don't know, 3 for $50,000, poor lowly Mr. Teacher Harrison cannot afford that. So I walked away. Those are your only two choices, is to buy or walk away. It brings up that whole concept of buyers and sellers. He was the seller. He had goods to sell. I was the buyer. I wanted to buy. But we could not come to the concept of a voluntary exchange. Voluntary exchange is just where we both choose to give up something for whatever the other one is offering. We chose, in that case, not to make a voluntary exchange. It was not worth it. And so we walked away. The deal fell through. If I had say, oh, I don't know, rob the store, rob the freezer emporium and just taken what I need and ran, that would then lead us into an involuntary exchange where I took something he did not want me to take. So those are those two concepts in a nutshell, as well as a shortened version of the communist and free markets, which leads us to the most common of all, a mixed market. That is what almost every economy in the world is. That is what we deal with all the time. And it just means when you come down to your three questions, what do we make, who makes it, how do we make it, or how do we make it, who makes it, and who gets it, the big three. Well, the government in the U.S. does get involved in question number two. We talked about that in all of our lectures. The government sometimes says, no, you can't make I think my favorite example is you can't make a nuclear reactor in your backyard. I'm sorry, that goes against federal safety regulations. That's not okay. So in that case, even though we are a free country, you cannot do that. So there's a little bit of everything. There's a little bit of mixed. In China, you can have free businesses. You can have businesses that make and buy and sell things and make money. They're not forbidden in China. Now, they are forbidden in a lot of places in China because they have the special economic zones. So they still have a lot of control aspects to it. But in those sections, buy and start a business. It's okay. The government may have a stake in it, but they will let you do it. So that's just two kind of extreme examples. So that's all of our different economic systems and a lot of our basic terms. Just like that. Real easy. A couple other concepts we talked about is if you were starting a business. So let's go back to our cookie example. So let's talk about sell, our 4 factors of production. So you have your capital, which it can either be your physical capital, aka capital goods, the goods you use to make other goods, or physical capital like cash. A lot of people think about it that way too. And then you have your human capital. So that's where we talk about my experience versus your experience. What all do I bring to the table as an employee? What all do you bring to the table as an employee? What are the sum totals of your experience? And does your human capital grow? And the answer is it can, absolutely. That's what education is for. That's literally why you're sitting in the seat you're sitting in, or bed you're laying on, or however you're watching your video right now. You are literally enhancing your human capital. That's what you're doing. Leads us to land and labor. So land, kind of like where I'm at right now. That's your gifts of nature. So when you think about that, think literally water, air, physical things you grow in the ground, that kind of stuff. These trees behind me, like if we cut those down, which I really wouldn't want to do, either one of those things, all those are gifts of nature. When you grow your flower for your cookie business, that kind of stuff, all that is a gift of nature. Then your labor. That's me, you, whoever. It's physically putting it together. Puts it together and works on it so that then, ta-da, you're in a good shape. That is your labor aspect of it. And the last and one of the very important pieces is the E, for entrepreneur. The entrepreneur is just the one who puts it all together. If you guys are starting a small business, you are the entrepreneur. That is how it works. So, there you go. 4 factors of production, down. See what else. The only other thing we really covered after that is the PBC. I remember I wandered into the orchard and I was trying to figure out how to properly allocate these 2 different resources. And we said the PPC covers a bunch of different stuff. So it covers scarcity, it covers efficiency, it covers inefficiency, obviously, as well, and it covers opportunity costs. So all those things are very quickly covered by determining where you want to be on that curve. Remember, anything inside the curve, well, you're not on the line. If you're not on the line, it's either good or bad. And if you're inside the curve, well, you're not using all your resources, so that's not going to work. If you're on the line, great. You're efficient, you're using everything properly. It doesn't matter if you say, I want to make 14 bikes and no computers, you want to say, I want to make 8 computers and no bikes. Either way, on the line is okay. Say those examples, remember that's what we used in class. And then outside the line is impossible, unattainable. You can't do it, not with what's in front of you. So you either get more stuff in front of you, or you need to find a way to use what you have better. That's where the whole aspect of what can shift it. So going back to that human capital example, let's say all your workers are suddenly more educated. Well, if all your workers are more educated, you're probably going to be able to produce things at a better rate. So that shifts your curve outward. Let's say you have a bunch of unemployment. Does that shift your curve? No. It doesn't change how much you can produce as far as the line is concerned. It just means you're not using all of your resources. So that's just a dot inside the line. Or let's say you get better technology. So I know one of the examples was pizza ovens. Let's all of a sudden say the pizza oven technology industry just went through the roof and now I can make so many more pizzas in so much less time. The ovens become hotter without burning the pizzas. Let's go with that. In that case, with the more efficient ovens, means that one side of your curve is going to shift. You're going to say, oh man, I can make so many more pizzas in with the same amount of inventory. So in that scenario, your pizza side of the curve is going to move. Or the other version of that, let's say, I don't know, all of the cows die of mad cow disease. Extreme example, but you'll remember it. If that happens, all the pizzas that use cheese, which is only the good ones, suddenly you can't make them. There's no cheese, no cows, no cheese, which means you can make none or almost no pizzas. So that would significantly decrease that side of the curve. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. That's the kind of thing you need to know for your test. So going into this week, obviously things are going to be a little bit different with the new schedules and stuff like that, but that's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to review. So we'll need you guys to log on and review. We will go over that together. I will tackle as many topics as humanly possible, and we will get you guys ready for your test. Your test is either Thursday or Friday. It just depends on your name in the alphabet, which you will get more communication about soon. And you will come in, you will physically take the test, and that's all I need you to do for this week is study, review, turn in your study guide, do the test. That's it. Not a crazy week. From there, we'll be setting up some new expectations and stuff, but I will come out with another video that talks about that. So for now, just get ready for the test. In addition to, of course, your This Week in the Woods with Mr. Harrison, you also have a great review put together by my associate, Mr. Donville. So Mr. Donville is actually going to review all of your discussion questions from your study guide. So I just hit home a lot of the high point concepts and IDs that you need to know. He's going to hit home a lot of the discussion questions, making sure you understand the nitty-gritty concepts. So putting these two videos together, you guys should start to get really ready. We're also going to do some review stuff in class Monday and Tuesday. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and we will get you guys taken care of. Thank you. Have a good week. Let's keep this streak going.